Good afternoon. I'm Steve Rehorst, one of the public information officers with the Watertown Area COVID Task Force. Thank you for joining us today. We have a couple speakers today. First will be Mayor Sarah Karen with a community update. Then we'll have Chief of Police Lee McPeak and Coddington County Sheriff Brad Howell. So up first we have Mayor Sarah Karen with a community update. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, June 11th, 2020. In the state of South Dakota, we now have 87 people hospitalized with COVID-19, and we've had 73 deaths in our state. Coddington County has had 43 cases and 34 are recovered. That leaves us with 9 active cases compared to 9 last week at this time. In our 9-county region, we now have 22 active cases compared to 22 last week at this time. So we don't know if we're peaking or what's going on with that, but our numbers are stable right now. The city offices are mostly performing all duties, and many of our buildings are at least partly open. City Hall, though, is still closed to the public, except by appointment, although all of the city employees are still working. All activities that take place in City Hall, meaning permits, licenses, payments, zoning activities, meetings, those are all still occurring. We do have a phased plan for opening back up to the public, and the council will be considering this on Monday night at the city council meeting. So this being a beautiful afternoon, we have the wine walk going on downtown, and we also have Thursday Night Live downtown. So hope you're having fun and being safe. Remember to wear a mask to protect others in case you are infected. And now I'd like to invite Chief McPeak.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, all. As the Mayor said, I'm Chief Lee McPeak with the Watertown Police Department. And I just want to give a kind of a brief update of where we're at with the police department, some of the functions going on within our department, and just let everybody know that throughout this entire COVID pandemic, we are committed to the mission of providing superior services to the community while making Watertown a safe place to visit, live, work, and raise a family. It appears as though COVID is here for the duration. You've heard our governor say it many times that this is a marathon and not a sprint, and so we're in it for the long race, the long haul. As one of the unified commanders, I want to assure you that we meet weekly. We were meeting daily for a while. We're down to weekly meetings, but we talk and take this COVID pandemic very seriously. We have a lot of doctors involved. We have a lot of city staff involved. We have sheriff's department, police department involved, and we talk about this. The main goal is to keep the community of Watertown and Coddington County safe. At the PD, we've taken a lot of steps to keep our employees safe as well as those that we serve and protect. We have gone to taking phone calls most of the time to take reports, whether you're reporting a vandalism or a theft or just have some questions. Our officers are available by phone and take those phone calls. There are cases where we have to go out and visit and interact with the people. And what we do in those cases is we sometimes try to get them to come outside to visit with us. And the end goal is just to keep everybody safe. We want our officers to be safe so that they can come to work every day and do their functions. And we want to keep the community safe as well. Some of the steps that we've taken at the police department to ensure our staff is healthy is we do daily temperatures as staff comes to work. We're wearing masks as needed, especially if we're assisting with medical calls. So if you see our officers wearing a mask, it's not because they have COVID, it's because they're trying to keep themselves safe as well as you. Some of the steps we've taken are to help keep everyone safe, not just our officers and not just our staff. Some changes we have done is we've training. Some of the training across the state has been canceled because large groups are not meeting. So we've gone to some online training. We've gone to some interactive training over the internet and some of those type of things. We've reduced to where we're not doing tours of the police department at this time. We're looking at some of the things that we can change to try and open up some of that avenues as city offices begin to open up. It's looking like National Night Out is going to be pushed out to September this year, and of course that's depending upon current CDC guidelines at that time. So look for us to have releases out on that as far as where we're going to be with that. DARE this year in our schools, we do that in all of our 5th grade schools. We finished up most of those classes online or through our classroom teachers. I know some of the officers did some online stuff and some interactive live stuff with some of the students, and I guess it went over really well. So the end of the DARE year was a little different this year than normal, but we got through it, and all the students were able to receive a certificate and graduate from our citywide DARE program. Unfortunately, some other events we've had to cancel for this summer. We've had to cancel our Teen Academy, we've had to cancel Camp Chance, and we've canceled some DASH events. We just don't want to risk groups getting together at this time. We are going to try to plan some summer activities for the youth through our DASH events and through some city things too. We'll have our officers do some periodic appearances to try and interact with the community. That's one of the things that we really miss as a department, is having some community organizations get together and being able to interact with the community. It's just kind of a different summer for us so far. We usually have a lot of stuff going on, so we look forward to getting some clearance from CDC to maybe have some bigger gatherings at some point in time, and then we'll be looking at some other things that we can do. So for now, I just want to let everybody know that the police department is staying active. We're staying healthy, and we're being proactive, and we're trying to keep everybody safe. I'd like to leave you with encouraging everybody just to be patient, be understanding, and be kind. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I am Brad Howell, Sheriff of Cottington County, and I just kind of wanted to spend some time today and talk to you guys about some of the programs and some of the things that we deal with in the jail that since this COVID has started. The 24/7 program, you guys have heard me speak on the 24/7 program many times. That is a program, once the COVID started, we had to kind of cut back on our testing of that due to the CDC regulations. We did just start taking UAs again. That's where people have to come in and do drug tests at our office. We started that about 2 weeks ago. Part of that program, participants have to come in and they have to wear the proper protective equipment, which is a mask. We ask participants if they are sick or if they're experiencing any of the symptoms of the COVID, that they call and let us know, and they work with us directly. And we've been working closely with the courts on this. Unfortunately, we've not been able to start the breath test part of the 24/7 until we can get some more guidance from the CDC. Like I say, that might be a long time here until we can kind of see where this COVID goes. So we are looking at different options for the breath test and alcohol testing on the 24/7 program. Some other things that we've had to kind of cut back on and halt while we were dealing with the COVID here in the jail, we had to cut back work release. So there's currently not any work release going on. Our courts have been working with us closely on work release. We had to cut back on church and other activities where people from the public would actually come in and deal and maybe work interactive real close with our inmates. For the safety of our inmates, we had to cut back on these activities. So currently we're looking at technology and looking at ways that we can implement these programs safely again to kind of get these back up and going. Kind of as Chief McPeak was saying, it's not a sprint. This is probably going to be in it for the long haul. So we are looking at different ways that we can interact with the inmates and get church going again, AA, work release, and also working closely with the courts. Another thing that we had to do at the beginning of this, we actually had to change our drop-off times for any clothes or medications and needs for any inmates that are checking in. We had to change those drop-off times to 1 day a week. Well, we just recently released those restrictions, and they go back to the normal drop-off times, which are Tuesday from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m., Wednesday 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., and Friday 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., and Sunday 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. And if you don't get some of these times, you can go to the CottingtonSheriff.com and you can check out the times for these drop-offs and visitation and the current inmates and everything on our website. One last thing that we just started yesterday is we started doing civil fingerprints. It's people for job applications, for pistol permit applications. We are starting to do that as of yesterday. There's been a lot of inquiries from my office. I know Chief McPeak's office, there's been a lot of inquiries on those. We do ask that you call and set up an appointment beforehand. We are going to require that you wear a mask when you come in and deal with our staff. The reason for this is we are bringing you into our jail facility, and for the safety of our staff and our inmates, that we have to wear a mask. There will be some screening questions, just like everybody that enters our facility. You heard Chief McPeak kind of talk about some of the things that they're doing for their officers. We do the same thing for our jail staff and our officers. We have to take our temperature when you come into the jail. They screen you and make sure that you're not running a fever, that you haven't had any of the symptoms of the COVID. So those are the same type of things that we're doing to try to keep our staff safe. And like I say, once again, you can check out some of the stuff on CoddingtonSheriff.com. And any questions, feel free to give us a shout. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Howell, Chief McPeak, and Mayor Karen for your updates there. I have a couple of things to mention here before we turn it over to questions for the media. First is our food distribution is still taking place here, and that is on Thursdays, which is today. And that'll be up at the Boys and Girls Club of Watertown there. So to get in line for that, what you need to do is go to Highway 81 and Arrow Avenue. From there, you're going to go east on Arrow Avenue to 9th Street, and you'll be directed north to the Boys and Girls Club of Watertown's parking lot there. That will start promptly at 4. We ask that you do not line up before 4 p.m., and there is no access to that from 3rd Avenue, so you'll have to enter from Highway 81 and Arrow Avenue north there. And that will start at 4 and go for as long as supplies last. So we have that. Another update we have is our daily briefings that we're doing right now. And as of right now, we're doing them every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:30 p.m. And we're actually going to be switching that starting next week. We're going to be doing these once per week, and they're going to be on Tuesdays at the same time, 3:30 p.m. So we'll be doing them just on Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m. If something does come up or we see some changes where we need to notify the public, we'll look at doing another one during the week or something like that, adding or minimizing the amount that we're doing. So just once per week starting next week. And then next Tuesday, we got a few speakers already lined up. We're going to have an update on food distribution that takes place on Thursdays, as well as we had talked about, we had Lewis from the Boys and Girls Club Watertown come up here a while back and talk about their grab and go program for their lunch program. He's going to come up here and talk about that a little bit more in depth this coming Tuesday and explain what they're seeing over there and how to be a part of that program if you wish. So that ends what I have to say here for the day, and at this time we'll turn it over to the media if there are any questions from the media. All right, hearing no questions from the media, we'll end our briefing today, and we'll see everyone next Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Have a great weekend. Thank you.